Today on Car Traction we've Today on Car Traction we've got a bit of a different video plan. Now, I know I haven't done any vintage memorabilia and automobilia videos, a bit of a mouthful that, for quite a while, so I thought, why not do that? It's all good going to these shows, but I'm sure you guys want to know what I've been buying recently. We recently went on holiday, which meant we had all sorts of access to new antique centres and new vintage car places, so that gave us a few gems for the Ned the Shed collection. Now, if you've been watching the videos for a while, hopefully you know Ned the Shed, but if you're a relatively new subscriber, or hopefully subscriber, but any viewer to the channel, you may not know what Ned the Shed is. So Ned the Shed, christened this year actually when I renovated it to being painted black, is basically a shed where I put all of this lovely stuff in, and you can have a look at the video of me renovating that shed on the channel homepage, and there are many more vintage memorabilia videos just like this one. But it's been a while, as I said, since I've done one of these, and I've accumulated a lot more, as you can see. So I think today, let's have a little look at some of the new items we've got in the collection. Our first item today is this lovely pre-war Pratt's Motor Spirit can, or petrol as the normal people would say, and just look at that, isn't that fantastic? This is the earlier script design. This came from a car boot of all places actually, for the snip, in my opinion, of £18. It's also got the original Pratt's cap on it, and I know it may not be in great condition, but when I bought it, it was a lot worse. When I bought it, there was none of this green paint here, and believe it or not, I actually put this green paint on with the method of a little aerosol can onto a rag, giving it a gentle wipe over as if I'm oily ragging it with WD-40, which is another little trick I say probably a bit too much on this channel of mine, and I think it's just provided that lovely patinated and original look. If you would just straight up repaint that with a brush, it would just lose all its character, and like that it would look great just on the running board of some 20s or 30s pre-war car, little oily rag car, and I just think it's got so much more character like that than a completely restored one, because this is probably how they would have been in period, and maybe we got lucky, it was green in period. I don't know what colour it was in period, but I think it certainly looks very appropriate in this patinated look, and a lot more so than say just skimming it all back, straightening it out because that's got a few dents, and just repainting it all together. So now it wears its dents with pride, and it is going to have a prized place in the Ned the Shed collection. The next gem is probably one of my most recent purchases. This came, believe it or not, from an antique centre in Devon. Recently we went on holiday, we went to all sorts of interesting old car places, loads of garages, and of course a few antique centres, where I found this fantastic Aladdin Paraffin tin. I think Dad's doing a video for his channel about all of the car related stuff that we did on that South Devon holiday, so make sure to check out the Old Classic Car channel for that. But please do stick with me for this video here. I think it's starting to rain actually, so I might have to speed things up a bit. So, the Aladdin Pink Paraffin tin, different variant to the likes of the SO Blue tin. SO Blue also did the paraffin. I've actually got one of those tins already, and now it's nice to have the Aladdin Pink tin. It's got a nice little pink sticker there, totally original, just beautiful condition. I might give this an oily rag, I haven't quite decided yet, but you always need to be careful going around that nice old sticker book, because you really don't want to start lifting stickers up or anything. And it's just in beautiful original condition. As I said with the Pratt's can over there, it will lose all its character just to repaint it, and it's just great to see it like this, and I think it will fit in very well with the collection. I've been looking for an Aladdin tin for quite a while because I think it looks absolutely great, and it's actually one of the more affordable items that you can buy for a fairly good one. This was 25 as it is, but you can probably get a fairly good one for about 30 or 35 or so, and it's a great way to get into collecting the old stuff. If you've got a garage, get something like this lovely old Aladdin tin, because it really would suit being next to an old car or in a sort of vintage memorabilia setting, and it just looks really nice, I think. So there's our second item of today. Our third item, and probably my favourite out of my whole collection here, is this just absolutely stunning Redex Upper Cylinder lubricant. Bit of a mouthful. Just look at that, isn't that absolutely beautiful? Totally original, nice pattern, a nice and shiny top as well. I haven't done a thing to this. This was exactly how I bought it. It's probably one of my more expensive buys, but sometimes you've got to treat yourself, haven't you? It's alright messing around with all the little cheap bulb boxes, but sometimes you've got to get something nice, and this Redex tin really does fit that, doesn't it? Beautiful original condition. Wears its wear with pride. That is just fantastic, isn't it? And it's got pride of place in front of my little cabinet with all the other lovely old things, and I've wanted one of these for a long time, and I finally managed to get the money together to buy a slightly more expensive item like this, and I've been wanting one sort of fairly centerpiece kind of item, and this was probably top of my list. The Redex valve cylinder lubricant, designed to keep your valves on the top of your engine, being an overhead valve engine, all nice and lubricated, and if it's a side valve, on the side, like many 50s Fords and pre-war cars, but most cars after the sort of 40s were overhead valve, and it's just a lovely, lovely old tool in my opinion, and I'm really glad to be able to afford to buy that sort of thing to have in Ned the Shed, because it is just lovely, isn't it? Oh, heck, it's that time of the year again, plum picking season. The tree is ripe with the succulent fruit. Got a little bowl here that Mum's been picking. That's our lovely plums, Victoria plums I'm told, although I don't know much about these lovely fruit. I do know they taste nice though. Mum's even using a lovely old stool to pick off some of these plums, and I'm sure the tree will be thankful that we're relieving it of some of the weight, because it's touching the floor, it must be quite heavy. Now here is a very interesting little item, not the sort of thing I'd usually associate with Ned the Shed, but it is lovely nonetheless, isn't it? This is a Flexolite lighter fluid capsules tin. There's nothing in it, don't worry, but that does actually mean that I can put stuff in it. It's always handy to buy boxes, because you can always put some spanners that you're just scribbling away or something like that. It's always handy. It's got this lovely design, very period, on all four sides of it. I've actually just propped it up on a box of Rawlplugs here to show you that it's also on the inside. I just think it's a lovely, lovely thing. Not the usual sort of thing I buy, because it's not specific, well, it's not about cars at all, but I just think it's got the look, and if you put a couple of car things sticking out of it, I haven't decided yet, it will look really good. And for the grand sum of £9, I think that was quite a good buy. And this is a great example of a way to get into sort of collecting appropriate things for your garage. Anything like old tobacco tins, cigarettes, anything like that. You can pick up tins really cheap, like £4, maybe sometimes even £3 each. And when you've got a lot of them, they can look really nice. They've all got this period design like that, and you can get something a bit bigger for still relatively cheap. So it's a great way to get into collecting interesting antiques that aren't just bits of pottery and stuff that you can display in your garage with this lovely, lovely design on the front. And I really would recommend, if you're starting out collecting anything, don't jump straight to Redex upper cylinder lubricants, the UCL, and start off how I started off, with a few just sort of bike puncture repair tins and something like this, because it's a great affordable way into getting something that will look really good in your garage. And here are the mentioned Rawlplugs. Now this one here was also a find from a Devon antique centre. That bird's quite loud, isn't it? And this one I've had for quite a while. This one goes well with my bull boxes and stuff, and these are more great examples of really cheap ways into getting into collecting anything. I know it's not really about cars, but we can gloss over that. The designs of these are just lovely, aren't they? And this was £5, and it's got, if I can actually open it now, hopefully. I've always got to be a bit gentle with these old things. It's got all of the original contents in that, and I think for £5 that isn't bad at all. It's got all the Rawlplugs in a little bag here as well. This one's just got Rawlplugs straight in, but this one's got a couple of extra little boxes there. I won't come too close to the camera because I might crack the lens, but I think that one must have been about £2 or something like that, and this one for £5 with all the stuff. A really great way into collecting anything slightly car related. I mean, this is probably more about houses, but it'll look good in your classic car garage, on the wall, with all sorts of ball boxes and puncture repair tins like that. They really do look good. You can't argue with that. The designs of these are just fantastic, and again, another brilliant way into collecting interesting old things like this, really cheap. You can find this sort of thing at most antique centres for reasonable prices, so another great starter, not automobilia, item there. Now let's take a little step away from all the lovely automobilia to take a little look at my latest creation. Now look at this! Isn't this just fantastic? We've got the 2 chairs, a steering box, that's definitely not off the angler, I can assure you, and a couple of counterweight paintings. And if you haven't figured out already, this is a homemade pull-up bar. Forget all your gym memberships, your at-home gyms, this is where it's at. Just look at that, absolutely brilliant bit of engineering there, in my opinion. Now let's move on to my homemade bench press, which also doesn't involve the angler in any way. Next up is this very largely proportioned spirit level. Now, I've got quite a few spirit levels already, and I'm trying to sort of move away from buying every spanner, spirit level and screwdriver I see, and slightly get into sort of slightly nicer stuff like the Aladdin tin and the lovely Redex lubricant. But when I saw this, I thought I just gotta have that, because just look at the size of it. This has got to be about 3 times larger than any other spirit level I've ever seen. It's Rawbone. It's got quite a few nice labels. There's a label there, there's a label there, and there's a label there. I'll put a little B-roll on the top of that. But this also makes me want to spread a little message here. That is the remnants of a price label. I paid £17 for this, which I don't think was bad. And the sun's suddenly come out, which is great. But as you can see, it's not come off very well. And what's quite annoying with some of these antique centres, this was another South Devon find, is that they put on these stickers that just do not come off. And it just looks terrible. Now, we will be able to get that off with like some white spirits, but it just is a bit annoying. So if there are any antiques dealers watching this, well, I'm sure they're not, when you're pricing anything up, please do not put these annoying stickers on them, because they are a pain to get off. But apart from that slight little problem, which I'll easily resolve, I think that is absolutely lovely. I've got no idea where I'm going to put it, because if you've seen the shed, it is absolutely packed full of all sorts of lovely items, and I don't know where I'm going to put this or if there's any space for it, but I just could not resist it. It's got the main spirit level in there. It's actually got the little Rawbone. Oh, the sun's reflecting off that in my eyes. And there's another couple of little spirit levels in either of these little porthole designs there, which I think is very nice. There's also a couple of little handle marks there. The sort of thing that would have been used in building, probably 40s, 50s. It's really hard to date this sort of thing. And I think as it is, it looks absolutely lovely. Sometime I might polish up this little Rawbone plaque there, and I might wax the wood or something. But for now, I'm just going to concentrate on trying. It's going to keep knocking over, isn't it? This thing always keeps falling over. Let's leave it like that for a bit. As I was saying, for now, I'm just going to focus on trying to find a space for it, because I couldn't resist it with the nice labels, and now I've got to try and make some room. Well, you join me now slightly out of shot, so that you can get a close-up look at this beautiful gunk tin. It's probably for the greater good that I'm not in the shot, but here it is. Gunk is some form of cleaning thing. I really don't know. Brush it on, hose it off, it says, but I just think it's a really, really nice tin. Dad's got one of these, and I've always envied him for having it, and now I finally got one. I think this was about £8 or something, and it really isn't expensive to get into this sort of thing, and that just looks absolutely fantastic. It's got a little plane buzzing off around the logo there, nice old script, brush it on, hose it off. Still got some of it in it, but I'm not going to risk opening it and spelling it in case I get a bit high, because I don't want to be loopy on this video. But just a lovely, lovely little tin that you can get for not a great sum of money. And the last duo of items here today are this lovely little pair of tins. Now, with these, I want to highlight how car boots are a brilliant place to find anything old and automotive like this. And guess what? These came from a car boot, £4 each. which I think really isn't that bad. Dad also got some of these. He got a lovely Redex one actually, which I quite envy. And I was a bit late to the party with these. He'd left these behind, but only because there was another Castrol one, and I don't think he'd seen this Ford one. Apologies for the noise in the background, there are a lot of tractors going in and out, but I'm sure we'll be able to talk over it. So, let's have a look at this one. This is a Ford hydraulic brake and clutch fluid tin. This is quite an interesting rare one, being Ford. I've never seen a Ford one like this one before. And this one is slightly more common, being Castrol Girling, universal brake and clutch fluid. And while this one might be a bit rare, you can probably still pick it up for about £6. An antique centre, this one probably about £5. Good thing about antique centres is they're always negotiable, and even better if you can get them out of a car boot, because these came from a car boot, as did, I believe, not any of the items here, but plenty of items in Ned the Shed have come from car boots. These are the only two actually from the car boots, surprisingly, but they're a really great place to find anything. The prices you'll find at a car boot are a quarter of the prices you'll find at any antiques place. That's why so many antiques dealers go to car boots. So the main strategy to get all the good buys is go early, because car boots, they're on from about 5 AM on a Sunday usually, which is a very awkward time, but if you go early there'll be some good bargains there, because there are many antiques dealers who want this sort of thing for their stalls, and they go early to try and find them cheap. So if you beat them there, you'll be able to get the rewards with these two lovely old tins like this. They're actually quite hot actually. I wish I hadn't put my hand on them like that. This one's got a little original sticker as well, and while they're not the most amazing thing in the world, they'll certainly fit in well with all the rest of the automobilia in Ned the Shed and all the other items that I've shown you today. But I think with that, that's just about it from this video here about all of my interesting automobilia finds of the recent weeks. If anyone would like to see any more videos of Ned the Shed and the stuff inside it, like these drills behind me and all the lovely tins, please do let me know, because I quite enjoy doing these videos. We do go to a lot of car shows, which are the best videos in terms of getting views, and I know I like filming them as well. I love doing all of this, but it is fun just to slow things down a bit, get away from all the chaos of Alton Park, and just have a little privet around in this lovely shed. So please do let me know if you like these videos, if you like any of the items in here, if you've seen anything you want to appear in a video, just give us a little type in the comments below. I do try to reply to as many as I can, and that's it from this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, share if you think anyone would like it, comment below, and have a look at the channel homepage for more all sorts of videos about Ned the Shed maybe in the future, or plenty more classic car shows and Alton Park classic racing content. So bye for now, and thanks for watching.